Hi, it's Ian Markram from IT Masterminds. And today I've got Amendra. He's a CEO from Octane Solutions, based in Sydney, actually, a TM1 organization that's progressing more and more into AI as well through the IBM suite of tools.
Welcome to IT Mastermind Talks, your access to insights and experiences from thought leaders in the IT services industry and those that support the industry. Our podcast features not only the seasoned professionals charting their start to exit journey, but also the key contributors who help ensure their success. We delve into the diverse challenges encountered within the IT services realm, encompassing both professional hurdles and personal obstacles. Join us, be part of our growing community and engage in the conversation. Hosted by Ian Markram of Loading Growth.
Amendra, how are you?
Thanks, Ian. I'm great. I'm great.
Fantastic. Would you like to just give a quick overview of who you are, just a couple of sentences, and what your organization does, Amendra?
Yeah. So I run Octane Solutions. I started Octane and run Octane Solutions. So we provide FP&A and AI solutions to the Office of Finance.
Yep.
And we mainly specialize in IBM suite of products, and we are an IBM Gold Partner.
Great. Fantastic. Well, now we're going to get more into the services and what makes your company awesome, and talk a bit about case studies later on. But what we normally do in this show is just talk a bit about the journey that people go through to become a business owner of an IT services firm or a software firm. So I'm going to start off, and we always start off with the background right at the beginning of, what were you like at high school, Amendra? What were you like as a student?
I probably was not the best of the students, but I was always very curious. I'm actually born in Fiji, so my high school was in Fiji, and that's where I've been born and brought up, and then moved to Australia in 1999.
Brilliant. Now, when everyone thinks Fiji, they think beaches and they think palm trees and turtles and everything else that's amazing on those islands. Were you on the mainland or were you on an island?
Yeah. Now we on the mainland, from Nandi, which is where the main tourist hub is.
Yeah, okay, fantastic. Yeah, it's still a beautiful place, and I see that Fiji Airlines are trying to push more and more through to the US as a stopgate to the US. So hopefully that takes off for tourism there as well, and bringing American tourism back into Fiji. So it'd be great. Now, at school, what were your favorite subjects? Did you do sport? Because a lot of people in Fiji obviously love rugby league and rugby union. Did you follow any sport? Did you play any sport?
Yeah, what you'll find common with the people from Fiji is their love for sport. So we've grown up playing both a bit of rugby, touch rugby, and soccer. But we dabbled in just about everything, so from volleyball to tennis. And just about everything we could get our hands on.
Fantastic, great. All right, so you studied there. Did you go to university somewhere, or how did you?
Yeah. So I've had did my university in Fiji as well, and did some postgraduate here in Australia.
Fantastic. So, what type of universities are there in Fiji?
Yeah, now we've got a pretty good university. It's called University of the South Pacific. So it does cater for not just Fiji, but all of South Pacific. So it was a great melting pot of not just having students from Fiji, but from all across the South Pacific in that.
Wow.
So it was quite interesting.
That is something I didn't even know about. So this is why I love doing these talks with my clients, because I never ask them these questions, never get the time. I'm more just trying to solve problems when I'm coaching. So and you got family obviously back in Fiji?
Yes, not that many, but I still. So you did mention Fiji Airways, so we were actually proud to have them on as a client for the last 7 years. So.
Nice.
Because of that reason as well, I do end up making fairly regular trips back home, I would say.
Great.
And I do have quite a few friends and family still in Fiji.
Fantastic. So
It's actually quicker to fly to Fiji than to meet our clients in Perth.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. You know, Perth is a long. I've got clients in Perth, and I jokingly say to them every now and then, it's like going to the moon. It's quite difficult to get there. So that is awesome. So you're using one of your clients. There is a reason, writing off the tax, which is good. To go back and visit your family and friends and enjoy yourself there. Well, that's pretty awesome. So you moved over to Australia and you did a postgrad or something to that effect. Is that what happened?
Yes, yes. I've started. So when I moved to Australia, I was working as an accountant and did my postgrad as well at the same time.
Yep.
And what I found is while working as an accountant here, and I moved here at a great time. So the Sydney Olympics was on in 2000. GST was just being introduced, and there was so much work for accountants. So we probably landed here at a very great time,
Yep.
and the excitement level and being in Sydney in those years was really really exciting. So while working as an accountant, I found myself gravitating towards more and more system side of things, so implementing systems, ERPs, and all that. And eventually, more and more I got more and more excited and juiced up by the FP&A side, and more importantly, the TM1 side of things.
Fantastic. So, what was your first job in Australia? Is it like a was it
I
like a
worked for a
just
company at that time. It was called
yeah?
Pioneer, but it's called Hanson now. So it was
Okay.
a concrete company. It was a fairly large, and it was just starting to go through a SAP transformation when I joined. So it was very exciting few years there, and I've still got friends from there.
Fantastic, fantastic. So, you worked at Hanson, which is I know it fairly well.
Hmm.
It's a global brand as well, I think. So that's great. And then you learned a bit about integration with I suppose SAP at that stage in planning and forecasting, which I suppose led you into the TM1 world more and more. So from there, where did you go from there?
After that, I moved to few different smaller organizations
Yeah,
and did quite a few different things within the Office of Finance or financial accounting, management accounting,
yeah,
and then eventually ended up at one of the subsidiaries of Canon. It was called Caesar at that point. So part of Canon, and that's where I got my hands on TM1 and actually fell in love with the product.
yeah. It's a really good product because we used to compete with it. So when I ran my consultancy firm back in the day, we were an SAP shop and we used to
Mhm.
compete all the time with TM1.
Yes.
And I just couldn't remember the moment that TM1 had that in-memory Excel
Yes.
functionality came out. It just blew everything out the water, basically.
Good.
And as we know, Office of Finance, or CFO, Office of CFO, all love Excel, and to this day, I
Mhm.
suppose. So,
Mhm.
so what a great way to put all this in-memory calculations and everything else and workflows into a product that everyone knows and trusts already, which is Excel. So, what a great you picked the right horse there. I think when IBM brought TM1, I think it's one of the better buyers that they've actually done. I think they have bought some duds over the past, like most software big companies, but I think TM1 was definitely the one. So, how is TM1 going at the moment as a product, Amendra?
Yes. So it is quite interesting time. So since IBM has taken over TM1,
Yep,
we've seen a lot of investment come through. So while the engine, the core part of TM1 remains, the Excel integration and the other side of the things, the performance remains. The investment from IBM has meant that it's now become a full-fledged modern platform for FP&A. So
yep,
you can, for example, get it from on the cloud, on the AWS cloud, on IBM cloud, or still on-prem. It's been infused with very, very good dashboarding application. It's now been infused with AI forecasting and a lot of engine work has come in as well. So now it's become quite a modern tool application that sits in the FP&A stack quite well and performs really well. So when you walk down the streets of George Street in Sydney, and you look both sides of the street, you can just point out to all the organizations that are using the application now.
yeah, great, great. So, it's obviously still growing.
Mm.
And it's still really relevant in today's environment as well. So let's just quickly go back into the journey. How did you? Uh, why did you start your own organization? How did you get into starting, Octane Solutions?
Yeah, so a few things. So one of the things is probably sometimes you just have it in the blood that you will set out and do something of your own. So it could have I would have been running my own business. It just happened to be I get to do something I love now. The how the journey started is as I gravitated more and more towards TM1, I ended up getting more and more deeply involved. So I used to run the Sydney user group and get more involved with the
All right.
community side of things.
Great move.
And eventually I got tapped on the shoulder and was asked to join Macquarie Group to lead their TM1 site. And I sort of joined as employee number one, as I call it, for TM1 into Macquarie. And they had aspiration or a wish list of, we've got a tool, we need to bring it out of finance and get it embedded into IT,
Yep.
and then deploy it in a professional way.
Nice.
And I thought this is a role that's actually suited me to the T at that point in time, and took up that role. And I thought I'll do it for a couple of years and then start on my own. I ended up staying in Macquarie for 8 years because it was such an exciting journey. So we took TM1. So the first part of the journey was building a team
Yeah.
around. So building a team here in Sydney, in India, as our offshore team, and in Manila for support. And then that was part A, and part B of the journey was to go and sell the benefits of TM1 across Macquarie and try and get the uptake of TM1 high. So we started with probably I think 20 users is when we started.
Yep.
When I resigned, we had around 780 users, and
Wow.
application was used by finance globally for all their forecasting, for all their allocations, for group treasury, for HR, all kinds of things. So it was very, very exciting journey there in being able to deploy. And those are the experiences that I'm using now in Octane.
Fantastic. Fantastic. So for those people that don't know, Macquarie is a big investment bank. It's actually also a retail bank now as well in Australia,
Mhm.
but it's a global investment bank, and it does fairly well normally. So it's a good stock tip if you ever want to invest some stock money into stocks. Macquarie is a good buy normally. So were you actually also? You said you were going across divisions there to get the 780 rollout people, which
Yes,
is a lot.
yes,
Did you
yeah.
actually build anything for the investment? When they went out and they did an M&A activity on an asset, for example, would you go together as a team and work out quite quickly if the asset's worth it or not using TM1? Would you do that, for example?
Yes, there's obviously limits to what I can speak about, especially now Macquarie is one of our larger clients as well.
Oh, okay.
So the good thing is the journey has continued
Fair
even
enough.
with me without being inside of Macquarie.
Okay, so that you
Uh,
don't have to answer any of those type of questions if you don't need to, but it would be exciting. It would be exciting. So I did some planning and forecasting for a PE type company as well, and it was so amazing because it was just better than doing budget and forecasting. It was when they acquired an asset or acquired something, they would actually do the due diligence with the planning team. And it was quite exciting. So I'm sure you've been involved in something like that, and you would have loved that because it's unique and it's different. So it's a bit of time pressure. Oh, well, it's great that you got Macquarie as a client. So let's just talk about when you left and resigned Macquarie. Did you go straight there and start Octane Solutions, or did you have another couple of engagements
no,
somewhere
no.
else?
You once I resigned, so you obviously have a bit of a stand down period. So I couldn't do work for Macquarie for 6 months.
Yep.
I think, but that was not the core part of the plan to onboard Macquarie as a client. What the motivation for setting up Octane and the planning around that was, we could see and looking at the Macquarie scale, what we were doing, we were using all our local vendors and the global vendors that we had in the space, in the TM1 space.
Yep.
And one of the things I quickly realized is that there was a bit of a gap in the market as to what the client, me as a client, wanted from the vendors and
Mm.
what was being offered by the vendors. That was A. And B, the other thing which we quickly realized that it was the cost was very high if you needed to scale up applications such as TM1 or any other similar tool at the scale that we were trying to do. The rate of consulting and things like that, there was a very sort of a mishmash of onshore, offshore
Yeah.
delivery and things like that. You normally had to work with different partners for onshore, different for offshore, and things like that. And what I clearly saw was a gap in the market, that if I could deliver the quality of work that we're doing in Macquarie to other clients
Yep.
in a way that was sustainable on the costing side as well, leveraging the onshore, offshore capabilities, without diminishing the quality,
Very nice.
there could be a gap.
Yeah.
And that was A. And then the B part was we had to devise a sort of a solution or a product that fitted with what the client wanted and not what suited the consulting company.
Yeah.
So around the utilization and things like that, and charging for what we use instead of more fractional charging. So that was the key motivation, and I probably took a couple of months after stepping out of Macquarie to devise the products and fine tune what we're going to go to the market with,
Yeah.
and that's what we did. Actually, Optus was my first client that we signed up.
Big client. Big client. Global
Yes,
brand. That's good. Fantastic. So just talk us through, how did you just go there, pitch? Did you know people there? How did you actually get your first client? Because everyone always asks me, Ian, I want to start, an IT services firm or a software company, whatever it is.
yeah,
And I say, it all starts with clients. I said, what do you
yes,
mean? I said, like, if you don't have a client, you do not have a business. So you
exactly.
obviously got Optus, which is an amazing brand,
Mhm,
which is a telco company, if anyone doesn't know that, and it's owned by Singtel in Singapore
mhm.
as well. So how did you get your first client there, Amendra?
Uh, as with most things, Ian, it's a mixture of being in the right place at the right time, a bit
Yeah,
of luck, and a bit of being a bit naive and not knowing all the things when you're starting out, and just going in and pitching everywhere and
brilliant.
trying to do everything on in the early days, and
Yeah.
that's how we got it. Is that we happen to be at the right time with the right price with the right skill
Nice.
set.
Yeah, yeah. Now, people say that there's a little bit of a luck. There's never luck. I'm telling you now, it's you probably didn't know exactly what you're doing, I would say, at that stage, but you actually, had a niche, speciality. You had resources. You had a way to solve a problem, and that's what people buy. People
Mm,
buy from people that can solve problems, and the bigger the problem you have,
mm,
the
mm.
more they'll pay for it. That's what I always say as well. So congratulations on getting that first client. How long did it take to go to get your first client? Was it quite easy?
Uh, it didn't look easy at that stage. It
Yeah,
was probably it took 6 months
yeah,
to get the first client, and then the word spreads, and the market understands what you bring to the table,
yeah,
and then you go off from there, and the flywheel starts. And I probably agree with you a lot that the client is the engine room. So no matter who we are internally and what we bring to the table, without clients, without having an audience that
yeah.
actually pays for it, it's all pointless. Yeah.
Definitely, definitely is. So you got a bit of a business model in your mind through the journey you had at Macquarie, which is awesome, exercise to go through. You had the onshore, offshore. You had a bit of a global brand awareness, how different vendors work together. You sort
Mm,
of had that as an idea. You probably didn't map it out as such, but you actually took that model and you've sort of worked on that model, and that's what your business does at the
mm,
moment.
mm,
So congratulations on that. A lot of people try and work on what is the business model, especially now with AI and onshore, offshore, and where does AI fit in, and is that going to be as part of a consultant going to a client? You as a consultant and some AI, I suppose, is the way it's all happening now. You talked a bit about products, that you build up products. So what we're really passionate about at Loading Growth around the coaching is you take the services, you productize them, and then you take those to market. It's a
mm,
lot easier to take products to market like that. And you
mm,
can box them and you can put time or a cost around that box, and people can associate as in what they're going to buy and what they're going to get delivered, which is a really good, strong thing to have if you want to sell a packaged offering or packaged services. Is that what you guys are doing at the moment?
Yes, yes, and it's gone through many iterations. So that's a very great point you make is to it's not easy to productionize service, especially in a niche area, because where the skill set is the key, and sometimes people chase different consultants and so forth. But what we managed to do, and it's only probably not on day one, but probably a few years in post COVID, or while we are sitting around twiddling thumbs during COVID, is we came up with the idea around we call it Octane Blue,
Yep.
where you buy uh, from us Octane Blue, which is around 40 hours of service, and that service has got no limits, and we don't even specify whether it's onshore, offshore, is it a architect, support guy, training, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
You can buy Octane Blue for a fixed price, and what we've also done is we put all our pricing on the website as well, so there's no mystery around variable pricing for different clients and things like
Great.
that. So that we're not competing on the price is what the message we're sending to the market is. We've got a fixed price of offering of what we do. We are delivering on the quality and sort of on the back of the skills that we bring in. So what we've done is we reached out to our existing client set and talked to them, and most of them took up the Octane Blue sort of package, and it's also a fractional support package as well.
Nice.
So, for example, most clients are at a scale, they're not at the Macquarie scale where they require a team of people. They require a consultant on an ad hoc basis as and when they require. So if
Yep.
they sign up with the Octane Blue package, they put 40 hours to use and draw down. They could use the package to do mini projects. They could do the package to do enhancement. They could use it to do support, whatever they need. They could use it to do training. Doesn't matter to us. We've got a large set of teams, so we've got about 50 consultants, close to 50 consultants now, and they're set up in a way, we call it the flight center model, where we've got a small cell of team where it's got a architect, couple of developers, and few support staff that look after a sort of a portfolio of clients, and they are empowered to look after the clients whichever way they see fit. So what happens is, if you buy Octane Blue, you can raise a ticket, and we pretty much operate, because we've got 20 global clients. We operate on almost 24/7.
Yep.
So you could raise a ticket at any time. We provide the ticketing system if you don't have one as well, and you could uh, se- uh, send a ticket to us and be comfortable knowing that somebody's picking that up within the next hour and solving your issue very, very quickly. And all our clients absolutely love it.
Brilliant.
And some people buy two Octane Blues a month, some buy one Octane Blue every 6 months. And the other thing what we did is we've we take the approach of being frictionless. So when you operate or work with us, we try and remove all the friction. So
Nice.
anything
Yeah.
around contracts and things that usually frustrate the clients around working with vendors of like us, we've removed all of that. So you don't need to sign a 12-month contract or any kind of contract. You can buy whenever you want and use it, and off you go. So things like that. So we don't bind you into anything.
For sure.
We believe that what we bring to the table is so compelling and so easy to consume. We don't need you bind you. We don't need to bind you via contract. It's
Great.
so compelling. You'll just keep
Great.
buying it, and that's what's happening.
Fantastic. I'm a big believer in frictionless. You've got to make sure that the client knows what they're getting, very transparent. Whenever offer, and anyone's out there listening to this, any offer that you have has got to be so easy to understand and absorb. And then the price point has got to be, it's got to be a no-brainer to actually get to use that service. And once they incorporate that service into their process internally, it sort of sticks, and you can never get rid of it. So you've obviously been doing that really, really well. Congratulations on that. I think it's a good way. I know that you do training as well. So it's not just the support side of Tier 1. You do training. Can you just talk a bit about the training? Because I believe a lot of times, there's a lot of turnover at these big companies that you support. So there's got to be a lot of training, ongoing training, so that the education of that product stays high. And then therefore, it also doesn't mean that you get a lot of low-level tickets coming through as well to support the planning solution. So can you just talk a bit about that?
Yeah, the basic motivation came from. So when we were at Macquarie, when we were looking, we're very, and it's a very data-based company as well. So
Yeah.
one of the things we used to do is every month and look at the tickets and go, why is someone raising a ticket? And eventually it boils down to a couple of reasons. So one, either the tool is not fit for purpose. So somebody is raising a ticket to do something to make it a bit more fit for purpose,
Yep.
or the user doesn't really know how to use it. The functionality exists, but they're still raising a ticket because they don't know how to raise it. All the other things are IT stuff, so data not loading and all that. We should pick that up before the user knows and fix that. That's the approach we take. So the training, how the training comes about is what we found that if we have a trained up community of users, the number of tickets goes down, the number of issues that come up. It's sort of a contradictory thing from me as a vendor saying I'm doing something which is reducing the consumption
Yes.
of my services.
Yeah.
However, what we also see is that as the skill set of the users increase, they understand via training the tool set much more better, and they start coming up with more and more work for us, which is higher value and higher quality.
Great. Great.
And
That's
it
great.
also excites our consultants. So we always say, the customer comes second, our consultants come first. So that is something that our consultants love as well, is doing newer things.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to sit there and just do support tickets.
For sure. Brilliant. It's interesting because I had a call late yesterday afternoon from a company in the US, and they were talking about how they can see in the market that a lot of companies don't really want to fix the underlying root so that they can keep the support tickets high and justify their expense every month. It's quite crazy, isn't it? And I think a lot of big companies out there don't really understand. They just go, oh, we've got a lot of support tickets, therefore we need a company to bring them down, and they really never get down. And if they do get down, then generally what happens is they go, why are we paying for the service? And get rid of that company that's providing it. So it's quite a difficult thing to keep in balance, but it's a bit it's a bit of I don't think end user companies understand that, and but really important, because in your situation you're doing the more value work at the top, because people are becoming more creative around solutions for planning and what the tools can do. And as we know, that's where the big problem solving happens, and that's why you get paid the big bucks. So well done on that. I think training is something that a lot of people don't do well enough, and I think keep on doing that. That's what I would say. Now, just to keep on moving on, I've looked at your website, and obviously I know you guys because you're a part of our community and everything else, and you've got some amazing logos on your company website, and there's probably just a few that you've just stuck up there because, like everyone else, they never really update the website that often in services world. Can you just give us, some of the examples of recent times? You might not have to mention any companies, but how are you actually working? Let's say, for example, a tech company. I see a tech logo there, which I've also invested in on the share market. That tech company up there. How are you doing a planning solution for them, for example? Versus something that could be a retailer? Are they very similar solutions? Can you talk to the audience about what you're doing in those environments?
Yes. I feel blessed every day looking at some of the clients and some of the exciting stuff that we do for different clients. So the logos are there, but so we've worked with some of the largest banks in the world. We've worked with some of the largest retailers in the world, manufacturers and the tech companies, as you say. Uh, and the forecasting budgeting, however, is different for each one of our clients and
Yep.
each one of the sectors. There are some similarities within the same industry. So sometimes, like we tend to be quite strong in the financial sector because of our experience in the banks and the compliance side of things within the banks. But we've got all kinds of clients. So we've got small manufacturers, small retailers that are not well-known brands at the moment.
Yep.
And from even for them, the planning application that we deliver is top notch. So
Mm.
a couple of things that we're quite passionate about the planning function and how budgeting, forecasting works and how it fits into the bigger picture and around the reporting and things like that. So what we'd like to believe is we bring a lot of expertise lent from all those different client sets, and infuse that into any application that we do. Which means that for small organization, we are able to whip out in 6 to 8 weeks, we go
Great.
live for them. So it helps what our learning is from those bigger brands that we've got, like we're probably talking about Wistek,
Yep.
and bringing the learnings from them. The difference that we see with the top end of town, our clients that are at the bigger side of the things, the problems are pretty much same, but at a different scale, where the consultation, the volume of the data, and the change required
Yeah.
is huge. So how we measure it. So for example, especially for the large organization, one of the first questions we ask is, as we start delving into this, is how quickly are you able to change? So once you're doing, for example, if you're doing rolling forecast, how quickly are you able to integrate change downstream, or change in scenario? How quickly does it take you to get it filtered down to your main reporting? Is it taking a couple of days, couple of hours, or is it almost instant? So our target is always to have instant changes, but it's not always practical in large organizations. So yeah, I mean, we can probably talk in depth
Yeah,
for
for sure.
days around that sort of the intricacies of the planning process in different organizations.
Yeah, the planning, it's amazing. I started doing planning, when was it? On a solution called Borland. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
yeah, I did that. I did that for a big company in the UK when I was in the UK, before I even got into my SAP days. And I came up with a budget and forecasting solution for a company that had 32 legal entities around the world.
Mm,
And there was no structure, there was no solution that could actually do that at the time.
mm,
So I built something,
mm,
and I built it out of some high level planning books in those days. There weren't much around, and the concept. And I'm not an accountant like you,
mm.
so I'm more of a systems guy. I didn't have the accounting background, but I had this planning process in my mind that I wrote up on this board, and I wrote the software for about a year, and I rolled it out, and everyone couldn't believe how good it was.
Mm.
And they then made me the head of planning and forecasting for this company, as a global company, and I was reporting into the group CFO in Italy, and I was in the UK,
Mm.
and I was like this lady's right hand man, and basically I just ran this whole thing, this process over and over again. I couldn't believe it, and just because knowledge is power, and I had all this knowledge, and they could ask me any question. I could, and no one could ask the question,
Yeah,
answer it, but I could. So it was
yeah,
like, it was quite
yeah.
amazing. But yeah, so that's how I got into analytics actually as well. So the planning side. But one of the things that always amazed me around planning is in large organizations was they would do the planning cycle once or twice, and then they just got too exhausted, through
Mm.
this process, up top, up and bottom down, and just got too much effort into it, so that and the system wasn't there to support the process, and they
Yeah.
couldn't do it quick enough.
Mm.
And I suppose that still is part of the problem today. Is that right?
Yeah, that is correct. One of the things that really highlighted this problem was COVID. Because when COVID happened, just about
Yeah,
every organization had to rejig their forecast on a
I can imagine.
fairly regular
Yeah,
basis. Most of our clients were running multiple scenarios as to what's going to happen, what potentially is going to happen, what shops you open, all that kind of thing. And what that highlighted is that you needed to have a robust planning application that's able to be agile in those scenarios.
yeah,
Obviously, that's an extreme situation, but on a day-to-day basis, so from where we sit, we see all kinds of things. Uh, um, I'm glad to say that all our clients are probably not in that situation anymore, because now that they've been touched by magic, so their planning process is not a nightmare anymore.
yeah,
But what we do see is a lot of organizations still doing it on Excel,
yeah,
and in and that is as they grow and as the situation, scenario, requirements keep on changing, it is harder and harder to keep up in Excel. We recently did
Yeah.
a sort of a CFO magazine webinar with one of our clients, Renai,
Yep.
and that's one of the cases we talked about with the CFO from Renai as to how their planning process, and they were using another tool at the time,
Hmm.
was so disjointed that the it was not only affecting the data side of things and collection and collation of the data for the planning, but also a big hit and drain on the morale of the team, because every cycle of planning meant long hours and frustrations and conflicts and fights and
Sure.
and trying to update all of that. But once you take that away, so number one, you find a lot of time and energy back into the team. So
Hmm.
that's something that we probably don't measure enough, apart from the time savings and the insights and all that. So that was a very interesting discussion that we had with the CFO there on the benefits of having a really, really good planning tool.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. So you mentioned webinars. I know you guys do a lot of webinars every year. You probably do, what's it, up to 5 to 8 webinars a year, because you really are educating,
Mm.
potential customers and existing customers. Is that still the case? Are you doing those many webinars?
Yes, I personally do about 5 to 8 per year,
Great.
and the rest of my team combined, we probably do about 2 to 3 webinars a month at the moment. Uh,
Wow.
one
Brilliant.
one of the things that has happened over the years is we are based here in Sydney, so headquartered in Sydney, but we've also got a big base in India, and
Mhm.
recently we've also got IBM partnership for New Zealand and the South Pacific, that includes Papua New Guinea and Fiji, where we've got more clients as well. So what it means is we use the India base as well to serve the Middle East market. Um,
Okay.
so we operate in number of countries, and we've got a center of excellence in different places. So our senior people are constantly out there educating the market on a couple of things. One is the AI side, which we haven't even spoken about.
Yeah.
So we educating the market on the AI side, in AI in finance,
Yep.
but also on our core business, which is the TM1, the budgeting planning side of things, as to the improvements that are coming in on such a regular basis, the infusion of not just the tool set, but also
Mm.
in the how you should be budgeting and forecasting. So those are the things that we
Great.
constantly talk about
Brilliant.
to our audience.
Brilliant. And you guys, I've seen some of the webinars. You're really passionate about your speciality and solving those big problems for companies, and that's still a big problem. So awesome. Keep up those webinars. I think it's very powerful to do that. Quick question now: what made you, like I had a team in India myself in Hyderabad back in 2012. I've got a team in Philippines at the moment, about 30 staff that do something totally different, do marketing for IT services and software companies. And I've got, obviously, clients have got teams all over the place as well around the globe. It isn't easy to open a company in offshore land, as I call it. Can you talk a bit about the experiences that you've had opening in India and whereabouts and how long it's taking you to establish that?
How much time do we have?
It's
And
a it's
talking
a lot,
about
it's a lot of effort, but
doing
just
doing business in India is a different ball game.
give us some examples, because I think it's important for people, just because I know a lot of my clients, even now, Amendra, always ask, Ian, we got to get a blend of an offshore rate to bring the onshore rate down, make sure that rate cards, are realistic
Yeah.
for our clients. So I say to them, well, look, you've got to be really, really careful. And I've got a metric internally that when we coach, you've got to have about 8 to 10 people offshore before I would say pull the trigger and open your own branch, because the overhead and the cost of actually running that isn't really worthwhile unless you get to 8 to 10 people. But let's just quickly talk a bit about your experiences.
Yes. Yeah, you correct. You need to have a bit of scale
Yeah.
to be able to do that. So we've got 40 plus staff now, and that makes it quite sort of easier for us as
Mm.
we're chasing scale. So coming back to the original question as to how and what. So number one, I think that is a very, very, very good competitive advantage for us, is because it's our own people. So when from day dot, one of the business models that when I started Octane was going to be that we are going to have an onshore offshore model,
Yep.
and because I had been working with our Indian team during my Macquarie days, and quite a few of them are senior members of Octane now.
Yep.
So I had a very to begin with, I had quite a bit of familiarity with the market. It
Yeah.
still took a bit of time to set up the entity. The bureaucratic side of India is quite difficult to navigate. So it's need to have a very
Patience.
very thick skin if you are
Patience.
going
Yes.
to get into
Dixon.
that side of things. But now that we are fairly well established in India, and not just the India offices, we've got 4 offices now in India, and it's not just established to save us our Australian market. We are a IBM partner, Gold Partner in India itself,
Oh,
and
wow.
India for us is one of the fastest growing market, especially on the AI side.
For sure.
So we don't treat India as
100%.
an offshore office. It is our core part of
Yeah.
the business, and the clients in India are a core part of the business now. So, but that was not the case on the early days. It was
Yeah.
set up as a offshore center, and we eventually built it up to what it is today as we go.
Yeah, the Indian market has been growing rapidly. I mean, if you can see all the on the finance news and everything else, how it is growing. It's one of the fastest growing economies in the world. It's going to be internalized. When I mean by that is it's got enough drive itself to sustain its own economy at some stage, rather than shipping people offshore to do work. So I think that's brilliant. Great. So you set the first vision of that offshore was to support local onshore, but as that entity gets more mature and the environment there has allowed you to go direct to clients in India, that's actually given you revenue and gives them the opportunity to be consultants directly rather
Yeah,
than being treated as offshore people, which is a bit different, isn't it? So
yeah,
that is actually pretty nice. So good to hear that. Now I know you are going through. You are getting clients now. You're trying to target the Middle East.
yeah.
Have you got any clients yet from the US? Because I would say the next evolution for you guys will be either Europe or the US, with your growth in your markets. But the where the Australian dollar and the strength of the US dollar, it's so affordable now to get clients from the US and deliver them from partially onshore here and offshore in India. So, what are your thoughts around that? Are
Yeah.
they in play?
Yeah, no, I mean that's obviously on the cards,
Yeah.
and we doing active work. We've got few clients because I talked about Octane Blue, which is support package, so anyone from globally. So we've got clients in UK, US, organically. So it's not something that we went out and chased and got it,
Yep.
but inbound clients that we sign up from there. US is quite a different market, so it does require a bit of dedicated focus, and the way you deal with the clients. And within US, you can't treat it as one big market. It is fragmented
Correct.
within the different parts of
Yeah.
US. So we have been probably been to US 3 times this year already. So it
Yep.
is on the cards, but early days at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Great. Did you go to some events when you're there at the same
Yes,
time?
yes. So we've got 2 big IBM conferences every year. So Think and Tech Exchange, that typically we take use cases and clients from here and do presentations. And this year was also quite special for us because we won an award, and which was presented to us at the Think conference in
Yes.
Boston,
Yes.
on the AI delivery that we've done.
Congratulations. I saw that award. So that's fantastic. And we're going to get onto innovation AI stuff soon. I'm holding that back, because I know it's a big area for you guys,
Yeah.
as well. So just quickly go back. How do you actually deliver? How do you keep the delivery onshore, offshore tight, for a client? Because a lot of companies I coach, Amendra, you know this because you've been through this a while now, is, they onshore, offshore, they have this sort of baton they're trying to hand over. It slips between the gaps. Who owns this? Who owns that? Have you got any sort of magic or any process that you guys follow there at Octane?
Yeah. Yeah. That is our secret sauce actually,
Good.
and that is the number one
Well, tell
reason
us,
for our success.
tell us what the secret sauce is.
Yeah. So the first thing around that is we probably I've mentioned it before, is we genuinely look at our staff as our first priority. Our clients are our second priority.
Yep.
So my job and our leadership team's job is to ensure that our consultants and our staff from all sides are extremely happy and engaged in what they do.
Mm.
That's our first. And then once we do that, they will look after the client. So using that philosophy, what tends to happen is we do quite a few things differently. So for example, when we talk about that, we've got a number of large clients here. So for example, recently we're doing a big rebuild of all the cubes for one of our clients is News Corp.
Yep.
So we actually going through and upgraded them to the cloud and modernized their. They've been using TM1 since 1998. Some of the queues are still that old. So what we've
Wow.
done is we totally rebuild it into a new platform on the cloud and things like that.
Mm.
So when we're doing things like that, what we also tend to do is the consultants who are working on that and they're working on those kinds of things on a fairly long term, is we would actually fly them over here and sit with the clients at different parts of the project, especially at the beginning and the end of the project. So what it
Yep.
means is our consultants get to travel quite a bit. They get to travel to all the different clients. It helps us recruit the best of the best. So we'd like to believe that our consultants are the cream of the crop
Yep.
in the space that we operate
Right.
in, and that helps us attract the cream. The second thing that happens is that the client's engagement with us and our consultants is at a level. So it's no longer the concept of somebody sitting offshore and we don't know, it's a faceless. It is someone that that we're dealing with and things like that. So the relationship that we build between the clients and our consultants is at a much deeper level. The other thing that happens is that our consultants, when they come here and sit with the clients, they understand the business much better. They understand the scenarios and the pressures that the clients are facing on a day-to-day basis. And
Mm.
that allows them to, when they go back and go into the solution mode, is to come up with a solution that is actually quite appropriate and relevant for the client.
Yeah, brilliant. I like that. Very nice. Now, just want to go back to the journey of Octane and everything else, but it's never ever, as a business owner, it goes up and down. This journey that we're on, this ride, it's like a roller coaster as a business owner. And can you just tell us some of the biggest challenges you faced early on at Octane Solutions?
Yes, I mean there's always challenges. Even when we work in an industry where some people call it feast and famine. I probably don't look at it this way, but what tends to happen is a few things we tend to focus on. One is we've got a very very deep and a high level focus on our marketing and our sales, that side of the engine,
Hmm.
and then we've got equal amount of focus and spotlight on the delivery side of things. And if any one of them engines is working better than the other, then what happens is you've got more clients than you can handle, or you've got more people than you've got clients. And then our job is always to find that balance. So that's probably the biggest challenge, is because there are times where we are totally run off our feet with the number of clients and inquiries and things that come from either organically or from our marketing, and then to keep matching it up. So we like to believe that the model, we call it the flight center model, is having the smaller cells of teams doing delivery for different clients and things like that. It allows us to have a scalable model, but still it needs a lot of work to keep it chaining. So that's probably the biggest challenge. The
Yeah.
other challenge for a organization our size always is we have to throttle our aspiration and our growth plans because of the funding. So we are self-funded and
Yeah.
and
Good.
have been sort of been very careful not to get any outside influence. I have come from Macquarie, so I can do understand the outside influence
Mm.
the funding can bring, and it allowed us to sort of grow and go into our areas and markets there where we wanted and not forced into. So those are probably the two big challenges: is maintaining the balance between the sales
Yeah.
and the delivery and the funding side of it, as to how to manage the growth.
That's great. Because one of the things is, about scaling your business is it just costs money. There's,
Yeah.
It's a people's business. People don't really understand services, and you might have a staff member starting on the 1st of December, but you're only going to get paid 56 or 65 days later on average. You know what I mean? So who's funding that gap? Well, to you, the business owner. So that retained earnings gets bigger and bigger as you go on. So it's like it gets bigger. It's like I want that, but you can't. And you would know that being a finance person. So it's important. So you just mentioned there also you covered about how do you attract and retain customers. I think it's really important. And I think it's important that a lot of people remember that if you attract customers and you get customers and you do the work, is how to actually retain them long term. And your solution by buying those time slots basically allows them to be, it's sort of like a managed services environment. Is that right? That service.
Yes. It is designed to have a sort of a consistent revenue from the clients instead of the big dips that we normally see in this industry. So that helps with that. Yeah.
Okay. Now we are slowly getting onto the big question there. We know what's happening, and I know that you put a lot of time and effort into it, is Agentic AI and all the things AI with IBM. Let's unravel that a bit, because first of all, I don't know really what's happening with IBM. I don't follow that that much. Can you just tell us about IBM and their AI play at a high level so the audience could hear what's happening out there?
All right. I think the good thing is that IBM traditionally has been very, very good with AI. So it's been doing AI for 65 years or so. So it's not something that they've jumped on the bandwagon now. So what we find is that the IBM products, especially branded under the Watson umbrella, is the depth of the products and the depth of what we're able to offer to the clients is quite deep. So it's not something bolted on like a ChatGPT type of thing. It is a true, genuine AI for the enterprise. So that's, I think, has given us a good grounding. So when you go and talk, especially to the enterprise clients, so things that are already considered are like, for example, the scalability, the governance. These are the things that are very important in a larger organization in introducing AI in. So, for example, AI in finance is even more difficult because you need to ensure that you can't simply point to different data sources and have a chatbot sitting on top of it, because you need to understand how the security works. So somebody sitting cannot ask what's the salary of the CFO and be able to get that information. So how do we ensure that the governance around those things? Also the models, the AI, the large language model or the small language models that we're using, how is it being learning, what data is it learning on, and is it being shared outside as well, and things like that. So all those considerations need to come in, and IBM is very, very strong, and we use a product called Watson Orchestrate, which is the agentic AI side of things. So it's able to connect not just the agents within the IBM sort of family, but also a modern organization, you expect to have multi-agent scenario. You'll have Salesforce agent, you'll have a SAP agent, you'll have pre-built agent. So Orchestrate is something that's not able to do all the things that we talk about within the AI frame, but it's also able to integrate and orchestrate all the other agents that you have in the organization and be able to actually help with having a governed AI in place.
Great. So that's really important because you're going to have lots of these software products out there, as you mentioned, Salesforce, SAP, ServiceNow. I mean, all these big companies will have their agents on the loose, running around these organizations. Who's going to maintain and organize those agents? You know, so is this what this does? This framework, the structure?
Exactly that. Plus, it on its own,
does its own.
What you're able to do is all the other functionality that you'd expect from a agentic AI. Like we build reports and do all kinds of analysis, insights, and things like that.
Yeah, because I can imagine you're grabbing data from different software, you're dragging out information, the agent's doing that on a daily basis or whatever it is, and it's it's just cutting loose, and who knows what's changing in those underlying environments with data, privacy. It's going to be a whole raft of new new services coming out there for that. Is that what is keeping you up at night and excited?
Yes, that is probably the most exciting side of the business that we see. The growth is
Yeah,
is
great.
huge. There'll be such a need for organizations like us to be able to integrate the agents, being
Yep.
able to implement and being able to manage the different agents. There's going to be huge amount of opportunity.
I would say so. And you're in the Office of Finance, CFO,
Mm,
so you're talking to the right people as well. So that's a really good advantage. You've got IBM as a gold partner already.
mm,
You've got a team offshore to help with the blended rates. So it's going to be beautiful. Now, quick one around the AI. Uh, there's the Gartner quadrants, and you see the hype phase that we all know quite well now for the last 15, 20 years. And we're in the hype phase at the moment for AI. A lot of our clients, as you know, in our community are doing AI.
mm,
Some in the US are getting some more success, but it's quite difficult
mm.
to get the AI project off the ground, number one, and then actually implement it, because it's a lot to do with the processes and people. And we know with processes and people, it's hard work. So have you had sort of any user case examples or success stories or case studies that you could sort of share at the moment that's happening with your organization and clients out there around the agentic AI stuff?
Yeah, certainly. And I think yes, the reason for the hype is the lack of understanding, especially at the enterprise level. I
Mm,
mean, this is a technology which has got a very good grounding in the consumer level, so everyone on a personal level knows AI, knows how to use it, but when you translate that at an enterprise level, it's not the same. It's quite different and difficult, because it's not just a chat GPT there. You ask a question, gives you an answer, and off you go.
yep.
Agentic now has got the capability to do a lot more. So some of the use cases I'll probably rattle out. One is there's a scenario where a certain report, a weekly report being sent to the head office offshore, being generated using data from about 5 different systems, downloading this is the current process that they used to do before putting AI in, is download the data, do the mapping, do the exceptions of the mapping, make some sense of the data, put it into another Excel spreadsheet, consolidate it, and then have a set templated PowerPoint that it used to put into, and then somebody would go in and update the commentary based on what they see on the data and all the underlying data. So that process used to take a team of about 8 people, a couple of days every week, and then do the weekly report. That we've been able to get AI on top of it and be able to do all of that process, generate the report. The commentary and the management commented that the commentary was far better and sort of more logical than what the humans would put. Humans would go in and copy paste from last month and change few things. We find the easiest way to do things,
For
and
sure, humans.
rightly so. But agentic AI was able to go into the underlying data, understand the trends a lot more, and be able to sort of consume a huge amount of data and sort of distill it down to a commentary.
Can you give us a bit of about some of the use cases that you currently have around agentic AI that you've currently seen out in the workspace?
Yeah, there's a huge amount of sort of agentic AI interest in, especially in the enterprise space. And some of the
Yeah.
use cases that we've delivered is around the report automation. So one of the examples was that we had a sales report submitted into the head office on a weekly basis, and the generation of that report required collation of data from 5 different systems, including some downloads from emails and PDFs,
Yep.
mapping, finding out the exceptions, collating the data, and in putting it into a set format that the head office wanted, including a commentary, and then emailing it out. So if you consider that scenario, a very common scenario with the finance team and analysts that do it, and that usually takes, in this scenario, it was taking about 8 analysts, a couple of days to do it every week. So look at the amount of time that is being spent in this
Yep.
particular task. We were able to put in agentic AI that was able to go in, connect to all the different data sources, being able to download it, make sense of the data, do the mapping exercise, do the exceptions, and even go have the human in the loop where for example a new account comes in and it doesn't know where to map it. It
Hmm.
would stop the process and send an email out to the relevant human and ask for it to be mapped. Once it's mapped, then it continue the process, do all the collation, and then do the commentary as well. And what the management commented was that the commentary was the beauty part about it, because the humans that did the commentary usually did a copy paste from last month and updated the commentary with the different percentages. But in this case, using agentic AI, it was able to go into the depths of the data, not just the data at the balance level, but also at the transaction level, make
Yeah.
sense of it, the trends and things like that, and have a very, very rich commentary. And also all the manual task of downloading, uploading, emailing, and all of that was handled by the agentic AI in a
Yeah.
controlled
Brilliant.
fashion.
Brilliant.
So
Brilliant.
that those are the kinds of things that AI is taking over now.
Nice. Nice. Um, so it's giving those analysts an opportunity to focus on other things as well,
Yeah,
which is,
yeah.
really important, probably looking at the numbers.
Mm.
So that's fantastic. How do you see this sort of evolving as a service line for you guys? Is it going to be over the next 2-3 years? It sounds like, it's going to get better and better, agentic AI.
Mm.
Do you think it's going to be a big part of your business going forward?
We expect it to.
Yep.
We expect it to. Not just because we invested in it and started probably 18 months ago, even before the hype got on to the level it is today. Some
Yep.
call it the AI bubble at the moment. We'll see how
Yes.
that pans out. But however, we operate in a space where this technology, you can see, is here to stay and here to grow and be more and more embedded with the business as we go.
Yeah.
The technology is evolving at a very quick pace as well. So we probably not in a position to say how exactly it will look in 2 years' time. But what we do know is that we'll form a big part of being able to work with our clients in implementing and running this.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. Brilliant. All right. So we'll get on to the sort of that's where the future, I suppose, of Octane's going. Is there anything else we haven't covered? You might get some more clients in the US or Europe, or I suppose that's part of the future plans. Anything else besides that in innovation, agentic AI?
Yes, couple of other things. So even moving beyond the Office of Finance. So at the moment, we've got a couple of use cases that we're working in, where a particular company in India is getting they're responding to hundreds of RFPs a month.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're putting is agentic AI to be able to go in, understand the RFP, the requirement of the RFP, and map it to
Nice.
the product line that they have, and being able to very, very quickly give the salespeople sort of a hit list of these are the ones that you need to target on, because it is a very close match. So we see use cases move beyond finance. Obviously, there are a lot of use cases in HR already. IBM doesn't have any HR person in this part of the region anymore. It's all done by agents already within the IBM itself. So we expect
Yep.
things like that to happen more and more.
Brilliant. So it's good that I've got your phone number, and it's good I've got your details, because on that exact use case, we've got a challenge for one of our clients at the moment, and I would love you to chat to me in the next week or so around some of those challenges that they have, and maybe as a team we could solve those for that client of mine. And there's a few other things that we are trying to build out at Loading Growth for our customers, like you guys, that maybe you could help us out, because everyone's getting in some form or shape involved with AI, as they should. And we're trying to build something that helps our clients win more and beat the big guys, as I call it. So I think getting some time of yours would be awesome to talk a bit about that in detail. So let's say, for example, if you had to give one piece of advice, one piece of advice of a person that wants to start out and run their own IT services business. They're probably at an end user client like you were once upon a time. What would you say to them to first couple of things they should do or not do to actually start their own IT services business?
Yeah. Firstly, is it's probably jump in with your eyes open. It's exciting.
Yep.
It's interesting, but it's loaded with risk. Not all of us will be successful. Not all of us will make money out of this game, but it is going to be a very exciting journey. But the thing, if somebody is looking to jump into this kind of like from working for a corporate job,
Mm-hmm.
going into the vendor space, so the first thing I normally tell them is, see if you can live without a salary for 6 months without
Great.
having that drug of salary coming into your account for 6 months. If you can pass that test, you probably are ready mentally to jump into something like this, because one of the things you'll have to manage is the the funding side of thing and the risk profile. So I use someone who's got the ability and the mentality to take risk and take some calculated risk. Not everything will work out, and being able to psychologically walk away from dumping some money into a project or into an initiative, and then deciding when to, because we also tend to get invested into the project, especially that we have come up with, and go,
Yep.
yeah, I'm quite invested and it will be a success. But at some point you'll have to realize not everything will be, and you have the mindset to be able to take that hit and go, yeah, I tried it. Idea was great, timing was not right, or something like that, and move
Yep.
away. That's one. And the second thing is, if you don't have the ability to sell, you probably will very find it a big uphill battle to be in the industry. And selling not as a dirty word, but being able to consult, no matter the experience and the expertise you bring in, but being able to convert that into a sale is very important.
Yeah, it all starts with clients. So if you don't have any
Yeah.
clients, you don't have a consultancy firm, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
very good, wise words there from you, Amendra. I appreciate your time. Once again, as always, you bring in a lot of thunder to some of these topics, and I love to hear from you. Thanks so much, and I hope you have an awesome day. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on IT Mastermind Talks. Don't miss out on our next episode. Hit the follow button and stay updated. Want to be our next podcast guest? Contact us and share your expertise with our audience. Visit www.itmastermindtalks.com for more information.